We have a serious problem. I'm looking at the content manager on Trainz a New Era, and it turns out the Acela Express is faulty. The one train I care about more than any other train on the entire game. And it does not work on this game. Okay. Actually, the trains themselves work. The problem is the interiors are faulty, and the bogies, and probably the pantographs too. Well, you could probably exchange those for other content, like putting a different bogie on it. It just wouldn't be the Acela Express without the actual interior and bogies, now would it? So that's the problem. The Acela Express is faulty. To be honest though, I never really liked the Acela Express on this game anyway, so maybe it's for the best that it's not that it's basically just too obsolete to be used anymore. It actually is about time we got a new Acela Express. I've actually been working on a project to get a more better detailed Acela Express in this game for years. But here are a few problems that I've run into while trying to make a basic model of it. I don't know the exact dimensions of this locomotive, so I could probably look at a picture of the locomotive and guess what the size would be, but it could end up being totally wrong. For example, it could be twice the size of the real train, or maybe half the size, or maybe 2/3 of the size. However, I think that's a problem that happens a lot in this game, because I've actually downloaded two SD40-2s from two different people, both of which the sizes looked a little bit different. So I'm guessing a lot of people actually do just guess when they make these things. While looking online, I've been able to find a little bit of information that'll help me in my quest to make a replica of this train. Here's a picture of the interior, which will help me in figuring out basically where everything goes, what everything's going to look like. Here I managed to find a picture that tells me the exact length, width, height of the seats and the distance between them, which helps a lot, because when this picture it shows you the exact seating alignment of the entire train. So if I could actually look at this picture, and then based on that I could use algebra to figure out the exact length and width of the floor of the train. However, it won't exactly help me in figuring out the height of the train, or the length, width, and height of other stuff inside the train, such as the cab interior, or the inside of the vestibules, or the inside of this cafe area. I would actually need an actual picture of the cafe inside the locomotive, and inside the passenger car, and some detailed information on its actual length, width, and height in order to make a proper model of it. So that's another issue I have. The other issue I have is the cab. I could not find any information that specifically tells you basically the length, width, and height of the components within the cab. So that's an issue too when trying to figure out how to make a model of this. And this is actually a problem I've had for years, because I've never been able to find any additional information on this locomotive. It's as if detailed information such as a blueprint or something that you could look at to make a model of this is a closely guarded trade secret, like the secret ingredients of a type of food or something. Like you just can't find it anywhere. In my quest to make a new Acela Express, I have learned how to do a lot of other stuff in this game. For example, I found out how to make stuff passenger enabled, and I even found out how to make attachments in order to place passengers inside the train so that you can actually, see them inside the passenger cars, which was something I originally wasn't able to do. I also learned a few other things with attachments too, like name placements and how to attach coronas to the locomotive. I can probably even make ditch lights for it, and head and tail lights. Now, there are also other Amtrak trains that I would like to make models of. The Acela HHP-8, which is no longer available on this game for some reason. I found out that the person who made the Acela HHP-8 was basically getting a lot of negative feedback, and then they got tired of it, so they just removed it entirely, which is actually kind of sad. Like, that was the only Acela HHP-8 up there. They should have, been satisfied that it existed and just, accepted that it had whatever errors that they were complaining about. And either way, I mean, it's pretty sad that we all had to lose the Acela HHP-8 just because a few people decided to get too nitpicky about it. I mean, I saw pictures of it. It didn't look too bad. I'm guessing they were just complaining that it wasn't perfect. So yeah. Luckily, I actually do have a model of the Acela HHP-8. It's an HO scale, so all I really have to do is take measurements of this and then multiply the measurements by 86 to get the actual size of the real locomotive, because this is 1/86 the size of the real one. And it also has a few other extra details on the roof and on the undercarriage. And a detailed model of the bogies as well. The cab would still be a little bit difficult to make because I'm not really sure how to make anything that's shaped like a triangle right now on G-Max. The other issue is I'm not really sure how to make the interior of a cab either. I'm not sure how to make the controls actually do stuff. And it's going to be specifically difficult with this train because it has a digital speedometer, and I have no idea how to make digital speedometers either. However, I could at the very least figure out how to make that stuff glow in the dark, because I recently found out how to do that in this game. I also happen to have an HO scale replica of a few Amfleet cars, so I could probably make a replica of those too. I actually have a small train set on the top bunk of my bed that I used to run these on, but I don't run them anymore because these cars are too long for the curves that are on the layout, so they just keep derailing, so I just stopped using them altogether. Now, one interesting thing about these cars is they actually have an interior. So if I were to take the top off of these, I could actually look inside them and get an actual idea of the size of the interior and make a replica of that. These are actually very detailed, so it would be pretty easy to make a replica of them, and based off of this. The only issues I see is that I'm not entirely sure how to make anything of this specific shape with G-Max. See, these cars are not squarish like regular cars, they're round. That's one issue that I'm gonna have to figure out. But one problem that I want to address when I make these is the vestibules of the train. On every single train on this game that I've had, when you push on the cars, the vestibules stay connected, but as soon as you pull on them, there's like a gap between the vestibules, which does not happen in real life. So I'm going to try to make the vestibules stay together no matter what. Another problem is the vestibules separate on curves sometimes. Now, in real life, the vestibules do separate sometimes on very sharp curves. Like when I was riding an Amtrak train in Washington, when the cars went over a double slip switch, the vestibules did separate a little bit to the point where you could not walk between the cars. So that is something that can happen. The problem is it happens on every single curve on this game, not just on sharp ones. So yeah, that's also an issue I want to fix. And hopefully I want to even give them destination signs. Though I don't know how to make changeable destination signs. I can at the very least create one destination sign and then just keep reskinning it until I get all of them. That's something that can be done. But still, the issue is the Acela Express. Actually, there is one way I could solve one of the issues with the Acela Express. Here is an HO scale model of the Acela Express. In theory, I could buy this and then model after this to make the basic shape of the locomotive. Still, it wouldn't be enough to create a proper replica of the interior. However, I'm not really sure how detailed these are because I've never owned this train set. For example, how detailed are the couplers between cars? They don't really look that detailed. That's one issue. I can allow for that though, because I do know how to make vestibules on this game. Another issue I have is I don't know how tall the pantograph is when it's fully raised. So I would not know how to make a proper replica of the pantograph at its highest point. And I also don't know how to make pantographs in this game either. One thing I would fix is how in the game the doors are controlled by the pantograph button and not by stopping at a station, which is actually kind of annoying because you actually have to tell the locomotive to raise different pantographs before driving to make the doors close, and when you make it open at stations, both doors open, so you have one entire side of the train where the doors are open, but there's no platform next to it, and that's actually kind of annoying. So yeah, that's one issue I want to fix. So yeah, I could probably buy one of these to make the basic shape of the locomotive and passenger cars. I would still need some kind of way to make a replica of the interior. The only problem with this plan is that this thing is prohibitively expensive. I've actually never owned a replica of this train set simply because I can't afford it. Hopefully sometime in the future I will though. So this is a project I'm considering starting. However, I don't really know if I'll be able to succeed in this, so I can't really promise anything yet as far as, you know, a completion date or anything. However, I'll at the very least try and see what I can come up with. I definitely want to create Amfleet cars that are decorated for the Acela paint scheme because there's nothing of that on the entire game. I managed to dig some up from a website, but those were very low detailed. About as low detailed as this horrible picture because this phone won't record in a higher quality for some reason. So yeah, they were very bad. So yeah.